So we just gonna get started. Um, so first of all, I know I missed the full moon in Gemini. When I tell you that full moon had us going through it. Yeah, I
Shit, we
know.
all
I know. What's up, y'all? Like I miss y'all. Like I miss y'all so much. Like y'all don't know how much I had to sacrifice just to be here with y'all right now. Like so much has been going on in my freaking life, y'all. Like man, it's a lot. Um, but along the way, I met this brother. Um, and the crazy part about it is like Satro, how long have you been how long have you known about my channel? How long have you been?
man, it's been at least like 2 or 3 years. Like I want to say since 2019, I've known about your channel.
Yo, that's crazy. And so
Yeah.
it was during Libra season that
Hmm.
that we started like talking and stuff like that. Um, you told me that you wanted to start doing YouTube and you wanted to start. Oh, what's up, Cosmic Ray? You back? Okay. Yeah, you was telling me that you wanted to start doing YouTube and you was trying to, you just trying to see what you could offer to the world
Right.
at that point in time. And now, this dude is got his channel popping. He's doing uh, he does readings as far as with playing cards. The only other person that I personally know who does readings with playing cards is Dolo the pilot man.
Right.
Do Uber Eats right now, so I'm driving. I can't text much. Yo, that's what I supposed to been doing. I supposed to been doing Uber Eats. Like that's what I've been doing. But when I tell you, like down here, it has been so freaking slow. Down here in Florida, it has been so slow. It's been so slow to the point where I was just like, fuck it. Like I'ma just go live. I'ma just go live and I hit Satchel up. I was like, yo, and y'all, I know y'all know about him because he's always been in the chat, you know, supporting and stuff like that. And so this is a new thing that I want to start doing. This is something that I started back in 2020 during the pandemic. I would have some of my soul family, and we would do like live videos and stuff like that. But see, back in those times, I was going from like hotel to hotel. Like it was crazy. Like the pandemic, it messed a lot of us up in the show production sphere because a lot of us like we lived off of those gigs. So when those gigs stopped coming in, um, a lot of the people in my line of work just didn't know like how they're gonna um, how they're gonna live. Like we're essentially in the show production industry. You have the people who like they live and breathe and eat, drink, show production, you know, and they're rebels. They're like rebels when it comes to the outer society and stuff like that. So, you know, it's and it's a type of community to where there's no judgment and stuff like that. So trying to leave that situation, now you got to go into the workforce and you got to go either corporate or 9 to 5 or something like that. Like a lot of people, they just couldn't make it. They just didn't make it. A lot of a lot of people that I found out like once I started back doing show production gigs, a lot of people like they were unaliving themselves. They were super depressed. Like it was just a lot that that went on around that time. But for a few of us, for a few of us during that 2020, during the pandemic and stuff like that, a few of us, we were able to use that time to reinvent ourselves or to add on to, um, what made us who we are in a more expansion type of way. Because 2020, that was when BandClap TV uh, got started. That's when I Um, ended up doing the shadow work class. That's when I started doing my Patreon. It was a lot of stuff. Like I would go live. I would go live like every other night. Like it was definitely a lucrative time when it comes to business. Even though not every interview or not every live stream that I did, the audio or the video quality was perfect because I had to depend on the hotel Wi-Fi. So um, you know, a lot of those interviews, a lot of those, and y'all remember, like for the OGs, for the OGs who've been watching my content, watching my videos and stuff like that. Y'all remember how those live streams used to be, some of them, you know. But um, once I found out about the Shadow PC and I started going to Starbucks, and they opened up and I started going to Starbucks and doing my live streams and stuff like that, things started to get a lot better, you know. But so Satchel, you did a reading, you did like a weekly forecast on your page.
Right.
And while we're doing this, go ahead and put your information in the chat so that way people can follow you and stuff like that. It's called The Satchel Rose.
Right, exactly. It'll pretty much be the Satchel Rose for everything. Instagram, TikTok, Cash App. It's Satchel Rose. Satchel Rose is pretty much my handle.
Okay. And just right quick, tell people, like, how did you come up with that name? Like, I know your real name is Satchel, but how did you come up with that alias as your brand name? Because pretty much Satchel Rose, like, that's your brand now. So
Right, exactly.
so
And I'm glad you asked that. Right. Yeah, and I'm glad you asked that because a while ago I was actually going by Satchel X because I just wanted to drop my last name. My last name is actually Pickett. But I wanted to completely drop my last name. And around, I want to say around 2017, 2018, my grandmother passed away. Her name was Cynthia. Her name was, hello?
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so, okay, so her name was Cynthia Rose, right? So I ended up picking up her name to honor her as my ancestor. And that's basically pretty much how I became the Satchel Rose.
Yeah, that's dope, man. That is dope. That is dope. Well, y'all know how I became Mr.BandClap. Now, the only thing about that is, though, I never would have known that my channel or my identity would go in this particular direction. Like, this was supposed to be like a music channel. It was supposed to be more of like me reviewing like videos, like music videos, talking about celebrities and stuff like that. Like, that's like, if you look at my earlier podcast, like my first one, my second one, my third one, that's kind of where I was going. And then something happened around, I would say, like 2017, like, yeah, around 2017. Something happened around that time where I went on this spiritual journey, this spiritual Orisha journey that I never would have known that it would have led me to where I'm at right now. Like, if you would have told me back then, like, yo, like, 90% of your content is mostly going to be talking about spirituality and Orishas and, natal charts, I'd be like, number one, I'd be like, what is that?
Exactly.
They're like, yo, like, what is that? Like, huh? But, that's what ended up transpiring from that. And so now, and y'all in the chat, y'all keep me posted, because I'm still messing around with like the the audio. I'm still messing around with like the levels of the instrumental. So y'all in the chat, let me know if this instrumental is too loud, or if it's just right. Y'all just keep me abreast in the chat. So I never known that that things would go the way it ended up going with my channel. But when I look back at it, when I look back at it though, I'm glad it did, because this is what gives me purpose. Like, this is what gives me substance. This is what gives me a leg up to a lot of other people's channels where all they talk about is gossip. All they talk about is what celebrity did this, what celebrity did that. And I ended up going on a different type of journey, like showing you what gods and goddesses these celebrities would have ended up being, who they are, and what god or goddess they would have ended up being had the industry not messed up their, had the industry not had such a big hand in these artists' careers. And I gotta do some more. I gotta do some more of those. Those were some of my most viewed videos. Like people are still commenting on the Aaliyah breakdown that I did. And when you think about it, it's crazy. And you can chime in on this too. You still have celebrities that it's like they never died, because people are still like uplifting their name and stuff like
Right.
that. And that's very interesting. Like people, it's like, even though these celebrities have passed away, they're still leaving a mark when it comes to the youth. You still have girls that want to dress up like Aaliyah.
Right.
You still got guys who still want to dance like Michael Jackson. You still got guys who are being inspired by Prince and stuff like that. I remember because as well, Satchel, he dances. You dance, you play guitar, stuff like that. And I remember you was telling me about how some of your musical idols were the Michaels and the Princes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, man, like, if it wasn't for me going on YouTube and finding a lot of Prince's solos or live performances, I probably wouldn't even be playing guitar, because he inspired so much of what I'm doing now. Even Michael to a certain extent, with the way that I dress, with the hats and everything, things like that. They both inspired a lot of what I'm doing now, musically, artistically, fashion-wise, whatever the case may be. They definitely inspired a lot of what I'm doing now.
And yeah, y'all can go on his page and see. Do you still have those videos up where you were dancing?
I don't. I need to put those back up, because those were some good videos, man.
Because I think that was around the first time. I think that was around the first time that you was telling me about your YouTube channel. It was like some videos of you dancing to Michael Jackson music.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, those were so long ago. I'm definitely coming out of that, just kind of like breaking out of my shell and getting back to that version of self. So, who knows? Y'all might see videos of me dancing soon, man.
Hey, that'll be what's up. It'll definitely be what's up. So if anybody's in the chat, because I just wanna to kind of take the temperature of what's going on. How was everybody's Gemini full moon? I'm curious. How was y'all's full moon in Gemini? Because mine sucked. Mine sucked. It sucked real bad. Let me see if anybody gonna say anything in the chat. When I tell you, like, everything, well, not everything, but the main thing that the main thing that I wasn't expecting to go wrong went wrong.
Mm.
It's like I'm over here, I'm trying to get this money together. You know, it's hard out here for a pimp, trying to get the
Right.
money for the rent.
Right.
You know, all the Uber Eats and gas money is spent, and I'm not trying to jump ship. So I'm over here. I'm like, well, let me just go ahead and cause I got a rental car. Let me go ahead and pay for this rental car. So I go on the app and I pay for the rental car. It says your payment has not went through, but I look at my bank account and the money is gone. And I'm like, wait, like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? You know, the money is you know, it didn't go through. Like, the money is gone. It's off of my account. So now they don't know where the money is at. They talking about it's pending, like all this other stuff. But you still got to turn this car in on Monday. So either I was gonna try to fight it out with them, or you know, the moon was in Gemini. I was already pissed off, so I'm like, fuck it. Let me just go ahead and pay it again. And I know there was a messed up, you know, thing that I shouldn't have did, but but you know, I didn't want to lose this rental, so I did it. But now, you know, that was some of the rent money right there. So now I'm like, yo, like, this shit needs to get back on my account ASAP. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is craziness. It's definitely some craziness. So speaking of craziness, let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on. So Satchel, I know you like to pull cards and stuff like that. You know, I see you shuffling right now.
Yes, sir. I got him.
So y'all definitely go check out his channel. He does really dope weekly predictions, weekly forecasts, stuff like that. Same thing that I do, but he uses regular playing cards, and that's very inspiring. Because like I said, I only know one other person that does it, and that's Dolo. And you know, when I do my reading, when I do my videos, and then I go back and watch his, it's like a sentence. It's like he'll be touched on something that I've talked about in detail, and then I'll touch on something, and then he, you know, his reading has a little bit more detail than what I gave. You know, it's like a even exchange type of thing, and we're using two different types of cards. So so that's the crazy part. Also, I want to give a shout out to Bobby Hemmett. His birthday just passed by not too long ago. So I gotta shout out that brother.
Sir, shout out Bobby.
Okay, so let's see. And the thing about it was, this is a straight up, like, usually when I do these, I sit with the chart for a minute. I get my downloads and stuff like that. But we've been at this pretty much literally all night. Like, we started trying to do this live stream at like 9 o'clock.
It was like 9, yeah.
now it's like 12. You know, now it's literally Thursday. So let's see what's going on. So can y'all see that natal chart right there? I'm gonna put a 1 in the chat if you can see the natal chart on the screen. We about to get it popping, and Satchel, you can pop in and you know, say whatever you need to say, you know, anytime you want to, because I'm just gonna go what Tariq Nasheed used to say back in the day. I'm about to spit from the survival scrolls.
Right. And it's crazy because like I just pulled a card, man. I got this five of diamonds, man. And in tarot, that's basically the five of pentacles, right?
Mm.
And what I'm looking at with this card is basically a lot of potential losses, a lot of struggle, a lot of obstacles when it comes to either finances, like I said, like in my weekly forecast, financial or emotional, which I believe they go hand in hand because they all are energy exchanges, right? So with that, I'm seeing that a lot of us collectively are going to have to find balance. And with the Gemini moon, I'm looking at the full moon. I'm looking at you have to expect you actually spoke on this. We have to expect both the good, the bad, and the ugly is what I'm seeing. So it's like we're gonna have to expect the best and the worst, and we have to find balance in that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because I'm um, looking at this chart. Let me see what we got. So right now, um, so the sun, as you can see, the sun is in good old Sagittarius, but it's in the third house. Um, and we know that that Sagittarius is supposed to be in the ninth house. The ninth house is in Taurus right now, which my ninth house is in Taurus, if I'm not mistaken. And the midheaven is a Gemini.
Mm.
Now this is the crazy part about this. Now I always call Sagittarius the Obatala, the Obatala, the Sagittarian philosopher. Um, you know, for everyone who follows my channel and knows about the Orishas, y'all know what Obatala represents. You know, he is um, he's like the highest ranking keeper of the Zarabandian frequency, and I call it the Zaraband frequency. The Zaraband frequency is like the spiritual 5G. It's like the spiritual 6G. The type of internet that's so fast, only the military is allowed to use it. Because if the common people get this information, get access to this information or access to this type of bandwidth, um, they'll be able to surf and do different things that is going to take a little bit, longer for the higher ups to catch up to them because it's so fast. Like everything is so fast. So, so Obatala is in Legba's house because Legba, he represents the Gemini, you know, and you know um, they can have very disagreeable, even though Legba, even though he will do anything to honor his father, or Ilegwa, like they say in Santeria, they say Ilegwa. So Ilegwa would do anything in the world to honor his father. But I'm not gonna sit up here and say that every single thing that Ilegwa does on his path is something that his father agrees with. Because see, Obatala, he understands that we all have to go through experiences to get experience. if you get what I'm saying. Like we all have to go through experiences to gain experience, you know. And what really makes you a man, or what really makes you a goddess, or what really makes you a king, or what really makes you a general is those hard experiences. How many of those hard experiences that you can truly say that you went through and you transformed and now you're out on the other side, showing your transformation, because remember, we just came out of Scorpio season, and a lot of, with Scorpio season, that was the death, that was the destruction, that was the decay, all of that was exposed. during that time. So now we're in Sagittarius season, which is you're supposed to be the phoenix that rose from your own ashes. And this is the time to where you need to be. And it's crazy because even with me doing this, it's in alignment, because my midheaven is in Gemini, and
So was mine.
and both of our midheaven is in Gemini, and and as you can see right here, the midheaven is in Gemini. So pretty much. And then also let's talk about the moon. So the moon is in Cancer. Satro, isn't your moon in Cancer too?
It is, yeah. Virgo, sun and rising, plus moon.
So, with this moon in Cancer, this is I call Cancer. Cancer is like the Nana Baruku sign. The celestial moon grandmother, the great grandmother moon goddess. The grandmother. The grandmother who's always in her rocking chair. She's comfortable there. She don't really like going nowhere unless it's going to the store, or unless it's going to the kitchen, or unless it's going to bed. Like she's had a very, very fruitful life, and now she just wants to chill and be in her shell and stuff like that. But in this time of because we got, and it's crazy because so the midheaven is in Gemini, but the moon is in Cancer, also in the 10th house. So what this means for a lot of people, and it goes back to what you were saying, uncomfortability. Your comfortability, because look at that line, look at those lines that go from the Cancer back to the Sagittarius.
Right.
And then look at that line that goes from the Cancer back to the 8th house. So these are experiences that that we're going to be talking about, or these are and we also got the 11th house in Cancer too. So depending on how you transformed in your life, and now this is what's on your mind. You can watch how people are associating with each other. Because with this 11th house in Cancer, if this right here, if this sun in Sagittarius in the 3rd house, if all that's on your mind, and then with this Mars here, if all that you're passionate about is what are the negative aspects of Sagittarius? Being self-righteous, feeling like that what you went through in your life, feeling like what you went through in your life is the end all be all. You're kind of putting yourself on a pedestal to where you feel like can't nobody tell you nothing, like all that type of stuff, and you don't have the work to back that up. Then it's almost like the fruit that you bear. People are gonna call your bluff, either because what you say out your mouth is gonna sound two-faced, it's gonna sound manipulative, is not gonna sound genuine and stuff like that. It's gonna sound like you hiding something. And then with this Cancer being in the 11th house, you're gonna be associating with the same type of people. You're gonna be associating with and let's see where Shango is at, because
that's crazy, because I just pulled the King of Spades.
So Shango is in um the Aquarian Shango. He's in Eshu's house.
Mm.
You know. So when it comes um to this Cancer in the 11th house, you know, you're gonna if this is you and you're wondering, you know, if you transformed during this time and you're in alignment or not, because right now things can be very indecisive. um, you know, things can be somewhat chaotic and stuff like that, just because we got so many planets right now that's in retrograde. So a lot of people, you know, a lot of people may be confused. um, you can see when it comes to this sixth house in Aquarius, are the people that you're surrounding yourself with, do these people have intelligent and humanitarian routines? You know, do they have intelligent and humanitarian routines, or or are these people places and things that you're associating with just because, you know, just because this makes you comfortable? um, is this going to lead to um, a tower moment, when it comes to this sixth house, because you feel like you know it all and can't nobody tell you nothing? And let's see what this vertex in Pisces in the sixth house, you know, um, for the people that's doing the right thing. Can y'all see that? Let me see what it's looking like. Okay, so for the people that's doing the right thing, this may be what you feel like right now. You may feel reflective, benevolent, and inventive, endowed with gifts of occultism, and Satra, we also have to talk about this BS that's going on with these TikTok spiritualists,
Right, exactly.
because that's another thing that I'm seeing as well. Um,
It's like an ongoing thing too. Like it's like an ongoing over the span of like a couple of months. I've been seeing more and more like TikTok artists, not TikTok artists, TikTok spiritualists, content creators, just under fire about something, and exposed about something. You know,
yeah, because right now, this is what a lot of people are going to be on. You know, a loner, and you work best in the silence and in the calm of secluded places. Success and wealth can be achieved in a host of disciplines, among which religion, philosophy, and the arts and crafts industry, natural healing, research, um, you know, stuff like that. And you know what? See, this also reminds me of what's her name? Sha'Carri Richardson.
right,
This reminds me of Sha'Carri Richardson. You know, because remember, um, I remember back in 2021 when Sha'Carri first started doing her, you know, when she ran, and you know, she had this tower moment. She had this tower moment because,
right,
you know, she had this routine that she didn't want to let go of, smoking that
right,
weed. She had them habits. She had a habit that she couldn't let go of at the time. That that sixth house in Aquarius, she thought she knew better. She thought she knew it all, and she ended up in a tower moment. You know, and what I love about Sha'Carri, you know, she pretty much, you know, put her nose to the ground. She grinded, and now look at her. You know, now look at what she's been able to accomplish and all of that type of stuff, being who she is now. So, you know, I was one of those people to where I was like, yo, don't sleep on Sha'Carri. Like, don't sleep on her,
exactly.
cause
I knew
yo,
she was
like,
gonna be a problem.
yeah, yeah, and again, I'm just glad because when you look at that race, that other race that she just did, um, you see how it wasn't just her. just her that was the reason why they won that race. Her team, she was associated, 10th house in Cancer. I mean, 11th house in Cancer. She was associated um, with people that are able to transcend their comfort zone. You know, right now, this is what a lot of us are going to be experiencing, and this goes by what. This kind of talks about what you were saying with that card that you pulled. A lot of us are going to be experiencing either new passions, because it goes with the sixth house. So a lot of us are going to be experiencing new creative passions. A lot of us are going to be experiencing, things that we want to go for, but this is gonna, garner us to have to, change our routines, change our patterns, change those things that, that would make us, get us out of our comfort zone. And I know with you being a Cancer moon, that's something that you know a lot about.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Especially within the last couple of months, man, I've had to really break out of my shell because, that Virgo placement with that Cancer placement, I'm easily a hermit crab. You know what I mean? Just me jumping in front of a camera, you know what I mean? Like I'm telling you, going back to what you were saying, man, like if you would have told me a couple of months ago or a year ago that I would be doing half of the shit that I'm doing now, I wouldn't have believed you, man. Cause I'm just so in my zone and just like in my space of just being just a hermit crab, man, just being in hermit mode. You know what I mean? So that really, but I see the transformation that I've gone through by taking those steps of really just doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing in the path, being on the path that I know I'm supposed to be on. You know what I mean? And just getting out of that space. I see the transformation and I see why I had to go through that.
Yeah, definitely. And then going to this this Caris and Sagittarius in the third house, So this right here, this represents if you're using these energies the way you're supposed to, this is what it's gonna make you. A wise, gentle, and devoted character, endowed with great intellectual capacities. Outstanding success can be achieved in any professional pursuit, particularly in education, medicine, finance, diplomacy, or religion. So it's one of these type of things to where when Obatala comes into Legba's house, he's not coming there to try to boss him around or try to tell him what to do or anything like that. He's Beauty Dark Side. It's a lot of, and the reason why I haven't put a lot of these type of videos on TikTok is because it's so oversaturated with these TikTokers and all, and they be talking about astrology and they be talking about different things, and I got this Dragon Lady Oshun that I talked to, and I remember she was telling me, she was like, I'm trying to create my altar and I'm trying to do all this stuff, and so I'm going on TikTok and they saying, oh, you gotta give them apples and you gotta give them this and you gotta give them that, but then she's creating her own relationship with these entities, and they're like, no, like I want this, like I don't want that, like I want this, and she's confused, and I'm like, yo, like, and this is something that Brother Sanchez was talking about as well, when he was like, a lot of these books and stuff like that you read, a lot of these people, like, what happened to questioning the authors who wrote these books? And again, this is what a lot of us are going through with this which is Sagittarius in the third house right now. This is where it's at right now. So a lot of us are going to be questioning. We're going to be questioning um, different experiences in our mind, because the third house represents the mindset, and then midheaven. A lot of us, this is what a lot of us wants to talk about, and right now, it's getting to a point where I've been having to reprogram my algorithm on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, like certain stuff I don't even want to hear no more. Like, I don't want to hear no more modern woman. What's the modern woman stuff? Cheesecake Factory.
Right.
Like, and y'all
No
can put some
coffee bake.
y'all can put some stuff out there. Like this, when I tell you this stuff is so draining, like spiritually, this stuff is so freaking draining. It is so draining. Like, just listening to that type of stuff all day. Like, it's more draining. Watching that type of content is more draining than listening to Sexy Red.
Definitely.
Because at least for a lot of us who's in the spiritual community, we don't look at like Sexy Red, like we don't look at that as a like, yo, like, uh it's like we have a second mind, and we don't just go with trends and listening to different artists because they're being constantly put in our face and all that type of stuff. But when it comes to a lot of these podcasts, a lot of these new podcasts and stuff like that that's coming out, because now podcasting is like the new thing. Now everybody wants a podcast. Even Suge Knight got a podcast now. I don't know. I don't really know what people would want to hear from Suge Knight, all this time. But it's one of those type of things to where we're really gonna be questioning what we're intaking, because another thing too, a lot of us, because of the changes that we're going through, we're gonna be trying to put ourselves in an environment, and this is the fourth house, putting ourselves in a environment to where we can have more Pluto in Capricorn, where we can have more Pluto-like conversations. Even though Pluto is in the fifth house, it's so close. It's so close to that fourth house. A lot of us, we wanna now be surrounded by people who have the same type of transformational mindset that we have. And I didn't even know this, but the fourth house is in Sagittarius too.
Wow.
So yeah, so the fourth house, and another thing too, because let me see, where's Pisces? Pisces is in the seventh house. So when we're talking about Patakis, this is almost a Pataki about Orisha Oko, about Obatala becoming the Orisha Oko, and Yemoya becoming a Obanani to him. And that makes a lot of sense too. So
Right.
even the people, even if you really want to gauge and see if someone is who they say they are, look at the people that they're connected with on a relationship level. Whether it's relationships, whether it's connections, all of those type of things. Look at the people that they're connected with, and that's going to also tell you something. And the reason why is because Libra is in the second house, so it's all connected to what you value. what do you really value? Do you value balance? Is the things that you put your most value in, are these things going to give you balance, or are these things going to satisfy a need for your body? You know, is it going to satisfy some type of physical need? That's what I mean to say. Is it going to satisfy some type of physical need that you're trying to do? And then this is what's going to put you in la la land when it comes to this, you know. And that's what'll make you a lazy, straightforward, insatiable character, you know, inclined to give orders rather than roll up one's sleeves. You know, this is, see, right now when we're talking about the relationship sector of YouTube, and you can you know, Satchel, if you want to pop in on this too,
Right.
tell me why all of this pretty much talks about what in these podcasts, when you hear these women talk, and when you hear these people, when you hear these women talk about the type of man they want and all that type of stuff, isn't this what you see? You know, lazy, straightforward, insatiable character, inclined to give orders rather than to roll up one's sleeves. You know, give orders. You know, you need to be doing all this for me, and you need to be doing all this. But then, on the flip side, I don't gotta do nothing.
Right, exactly.
You know, I don't gotta put in no work. I don't gotta roll up my sleeves. I don't gotta do nothing. You know, success can be achieved in fish cannery, the exploitation of salt marshes, or deep sea fishing. And I don't know nobody who gonna want to do all that, because let's break that down. Let's break that down. So, so fish cannery, you know, that's talking about someone who knows how to categorize their emotions. That's what fish cannery is. The feed is breaking in and out. Yo, Satchel, does it sound like it's breaking in and out on your end?
Nah, as far as the call, no, I can pretty much hear everything.
No, go on YouTube. Go on YouTube and see, cause it sound good on my end. Let's see. And you all of that type of stuff. What's the modern woman stuff? Yeah, it sounds good.
No, it sounds pretty good. Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
It sounds good on my end. Beauty dark side. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? I didn't want to cut you off, man, but I got a whole 9-card spread, and I usually only do 6 cards. So Spirit definitely has a lot. It's definitely a lot to talk about tonight.
Okay. Well, let me get done with this 7th house in Pisces, and then I'm gonna give you the floor. So fish cannery. Success can be achieved in fish cannery. So with these type of because you know Yemoya Pisces, yeah, you ain't heard about that Beauty Dark Side, about the Cheesecake Factory? You know, the lady was talking about I don't eat there. I don't understand this stuff, these, and then it came out that it was a skit.
It was a whole skit.
Like, people be taking these skits too seriously. You know, people be taking this stuff too seriously, and then you find out that that's not even, you know, what it is for real. You know, but so fish cannery, that means being able to categorize your emotions. You know, if you're a woman out there and you feel like that you can give orders without putting in work, because that's what this matrix has programmed us to believe, you know, fish cannery, learning how to categorize and know what emotions need to be let out and what emotions need to be stored, you know. The exploitation of salt marshes. You know, so this is you always This is you always surrounding yourself, and this is I'm just going like straight off the hip because I really need to look up what is a salt marsh. But this is you always going to those lower parts of yourself, and you're always keeping a note on, um, have I transformed from this? Do I still need to work on this? Things like that. So you won't be out here being salty. Being salty to everybody, and a lot of times, um, women can have different shadow work, different stuff that they need to work on. A lot of times as men, we have shadow work that we need to work on, and if we're not constantly exploring those parts of ourselves and stuff like that, if we're not constantly doing that, it can lead you to a situation to where you find someone that you really can vibe with, and they might do something, and unknowingly they might do something, and innocently it was just something that they did unknowingly, but it's a trigger for you. So now you're blowing up on them, like, oh, you're just like everybody else. I should have known. Now you sound like Monica. I should have known that. You over there sounding like Monica. You over here sounding like Mary J. Blige. You're not gonna cry. You're not gonna cry. You're not gonna shed no tear. Because all of that has to do with salt. Because tears got salt. Man, I'm over here spitting bars right now, dog. Like, man. I'm over here spitting bars. Or deep sea fishing. So, as a woman, deep sea fishing, you're always going deep within yourself, meditating, and really understanding the emotions and how they arise. Really understanding, like, okay, where does this emotion come from? Why am I feeling this? Why is this such a strong emotion? Like, that's a thing that we all have to do in this journey. Let me see what Beauty Dark Side is talking about. But we have to keep in mind, everything that's coming out is not a shocker. It's just others seem to keep us away from our destiny. Let me see what they say. Keep us away from our true destiny. And Beauty Dark Side, you definitely got a point, because that's why we're being distracted right now. Now the thing about it is, with astrology, this shows you what type of distractions they're using, because I can use this astrology and I can break down every single distraction that we've been given and how it's been carefully planned out. Like, it's been carefully planned out, because right now with this Lilith in Virgo, and then it's a Lilith retrograde. We got Lilith retrograde in Virgo in the 12th house. So let me see. Your feet. You say my feet keep breaking out? Let me see.
Factory
Let me see.
is the things that you put your most value in. These things
Let
gonna
me
keep you
see.
balanced?
I don't hear it.
Are these things gonna satisfy a need for your
I don't hear it. It don't sound like it's breaking out on my end.
Hey, I kind of wanted to chime in on that too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because it's crazy, because I got this 4 of clubs, right? And this card in particular is talking about being concentrated, being going on mental pursuits, basically removing all distractions out of your way, right? In order to be not so much headstrong, but more so focused, kind of like tunnel vision. And a lot of us are going to need to have an Obatala in our house. A lot of us are going to have an Obatala in our presence to remove those distractions out of our way, so that we can achieve our goals, and so that we can and I'm also seeing with this particular card that education is key. We're going to have to learn more about deeper aspects of ourselves in order to move on to the next level. I'm also seeing like graduation, like how can I put it? Yeah, the best way I can put it is in order to graduate to the next stage or to the next level, we have to, like you said, remove those distractions and remove those obstacles out of our way so that we can be concentrated and not be so headstrong in our pursuits.
Okay. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because see, with this with this Lilith in Virgo, and it's in retrograde, so in a way, it's like one of them things to where um, if you're doing this right, which is the sixth house in Aquarius, if you're doing this right, you're intelligent about your routines, then when you're on this on this new you're trying you got a new state of mind. This is like a phoenix state of mind. I like that. That's what I'm gonna name this, the phoenix state of mind.
Right.
So you got a phoenix state of mind because of all of the uncomfortable situations and the status that they gave you, and you're trying to transcend these things, and this is what you're talking about. Any mistakes that you make, any embarrassment or anything like that during this time, you don't really got anything to worry about. Number one, because you've been through this before, so it's not like something that caught you by surprise because Lilith is in retrograde. Now, the beautiful thing about this is that unlike before, when because when we're talking about the 12th house, this is like subconscious mind. This is like stuff that happened in the past, stuff that you probably forgot about, like all that type of stuff. Back in that time when this happened to you the first time, it happened out of nowhere. It took you by surprise. It was extremely what's the word? It was extremely embarrassing. Like everybody was laughing at you and yeah, look at you. But now it's one of them type of things to where you already know that this is coming. So you're prepared for it. And if I'm not mistaken, when we look at this Juno, and I'm right, this is how you're going to be handling yourself in the midst of adversity. You're going to be a patient, serious, and careful character. Someone who thinks of the future and carefully and let me stop for a second. Ain't this what I just said?
That's exactly what you just said.
Yo, and you a Virgo too.
Yeah.
So it's like I be talking, I be freestyling, I be talking, and when I see something like this, and this is literally exactly what I said, like I'm not one of those people where I know I'm right, where I'm like, yeah, I'm always right. Like, right. This type of stuff still fascinates me. I'm hearing meek and lowly at heart. I don't know why that came up in my head. Meek and lowly at heart.
It's and crazy because I have 8 of hearts.
And this is the reason why people like us, it's hard for us to create a business off of these type of things, because we're so humble. Like we wouldn't know how to price it. Like we'll be thinking like, yeah, well, I'm gonna do it for $25, and then you got people like, yo, like that ain't nothing. Like $25 for real, and you got these artificial you got these soulless beings out here doing it for 500, 1,000, 2,000,
right.
But it's like as a meek and lowly at heart type of person, it's hard for you to look at your people and you see your people are struggling, and you know that they need this information, and you trying to hit them over the head like that.
And that's interesting because as you know, I had priced my readings at 20, just to kind of test the waters. But not only you, but the Baron, both of y'all were telling me like, listen, you need to raise that because you're gonna get the low hanging fruit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Y'all both,
and you saw that.
yeah,
And you saw what happened when your prices was that low.
hmm
You know, so and you know, I went through the same thing um, with my readings and stuff like that. Um, and one thing that I've noticed in this journey is that sometimes um, when it comes to somebody paying for something like this, it shows that they really care about their journey. Like they really care about learning and stuff like that. Because I'm not one of those type of YouTubers where I'm like, yo, buy my course and you know all that type. Like I'm not one of those type of YouTubers that just give you like a whole bunch of like products and stuff like that. But I don't have no substance in what I'm giving you.
exactly.
My whole shadow work class was based on the Getting to Know Your Inner Child series that I came out with. It was just that Melanie, shout out to Professor Melanie, the spirit doula. It was just that, she saw what I had in those podcasts, and she was like, "Yo, like, you can turn this into a class. Like, you can, structure it. You can get it structured, and you know, uh, make a curriculum out of this, and you can turn this into a class. You know, um, but yeah, it's gonna make you someone. Success can be achieved in all professions related to water. So again, this is someone who can help. This is someone who can help um, the Yemoyas out there. Someone who can help the wayward Oshun. Someone who can help the unfulfilled baddies in a way that a lot of these guys that be having these women on their podcast and they just be yelling and screaming at them. They'll
Mm.
never be able to get these women to really understand, what's real, because
Right.
you know, um, because they don't have this type of energy with them. It's almost like um, because Juno, this is talking about adaptation to the marital partner, and when we're talking about relationships and we're talking about being able to relate to people in general, you gotta have a heavy influence with this Juno in Virgo in the 11th house. I mean, in the 12th house. Like, you have to, you know? So, I remember you said something about you had a spread or something
Yeah.
like that you wanted to
Yeah.
talk about.
And it's crazy because, like I said, man, I usually only do like a 6 card spread, but this is like a 9 card spread. Now, as I said, we had the 4 of clubs, right? And I'm seeing with that card, I'm seeing with this one, I'm seeing Taurus, I'm seeing Cancer, and I'm seeing Virgo, right? So with this card, like I said, I'm seeing basically we're gonna have to have an Obatala in our presence. We're gonna have to have an Obatala in our house, cleaning that house up, cleaning that space up, and just removing all of those distractions so that we can become more concentrated, so that we can kind of have that tunnel vision, right? So then we have this 8 of hearts, right? And with that card, I'm seeing, like I said, we have to not be so headstrong and kind of like not be so um, dominating when it comes to our love lives. When it comes to, I'm definitely seeing with the feminine, definitely with the feminine, with this particular card. You know what I mean? Like as you said, being in a space of to where you're demanding, you have all of these demands, but you're not wanting to roll your sleeve up as a woman. You're not wanting to roll your sleeve up as a feminine. You get what I'm saying? And with this card, I'm definitely seeing a lot of Sagittarius and a lot of Capricorn energy with that particular card. You get what I'm saying? 1 second. Yeah, so with this next card, we have the 7 of spades, right? So once we remove all of those obstacles, once we remove all of those distractions, I'm seeing with this card, a lot of us are going to be connecting to our higher selves. Um, it's going to almost be to a point to where there's not going to be a choice. Like you can't run from this. Basically, there's not going to be. Um, there's not going to be a choice whether or not you decide, okay, no, I don't want to go down that path, or I don't want to go down that road. No, you don't have a choice but to. You're going to have to connect to your inner child and your higher self in order to be able to transform. Because a lot of us are still going through transformations after Scorpio season, after the Gemini full moon, um, and it's in a space to where it's unintentional, if that makes sense. And I'm seeing also with this particular card, I'm seeing a lot of discontent. A lot of us collectively are unsure of the path that we're on right now. A lot of us are unsure of what we're supposed to be doing spiritually. You get what I'm saying? And I remember you speaking about how a lot of TikTokers would put up a video saying, that, okay, you're supposed to give this offering or you're supposed to give that offering. And I always tell people that always come to me like, well, I don't really know what offerings to give Oshun or to give Eshu or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? I always tell them like, man, tap into your inner child and tap into your higher self. You know what I mean? Because there's no one way of doing this. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's no one way of doing anything. Whatever your spirit is telling you to give, I don't care if it's a honey bun. You know what I mean? Like, you give that to him. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if it's a race car. You give that to Eshu. You know, and I'm definitely seeing that a lot of the soul family, especially on this stream, has a lot of you all have altars. A lot of you have altars that you either may be unsure of or that you're not sure. Oh, okay, what is Spirit trying to say? You're not sure that you want to keep that altar up. You get, especially now around the holidays. I know a lot of us have family members who are Christian or family members who are Muslim or whatever the case may be coming in, and they may see that, and judgment is being passed. You get what I'm saying? So again, with this card, I'm seeing that you have to be sure of yourself, and you have to tap into your inner child, and you have to tap into your higher self with this particular card.
And it's funny because you said something about the honey bun.
Yeah.
Yo, I definitely got a honey bun story, and I remember telling this a while ago. I remember this was like 2021. Yeah, it's around 2021. Before I started working at the club doing security, I was in my truck. I ain't have no money. I probably had like a couple dollars, probably about $2 on me, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna make it. And I remember, because this was back when I used to have like these real deep like visions and like spiritual visions and stuff. And Oshun was like, I want a honey bun, and I'm like yo, like I'm really trying to make this couple dollars stretch. Like, if I get a honey bun and then I'm over here at 7-Eleven, if I get a honey bun, it's gonna take all my money. But I'm not the type of person that's going to disobey spirit. So I went in 7-Eleven, got the honey bun. So now I only got like a quarter or something like that to my name. So Oshun, she was like, you eat some. And I remember in the religion, or not in the religion, but in the different stories and stuff like that, when you break bread with Oshun, she's gonna want you to eat as well. And I want to go off on a tangent about relationships because you already know where I would go with that.
Right.
If you got a woman and she really love you, she's gonna break bread with you as well. Like, she's not gonna want you to do everything for her. Like, she's gonna want to be able to pamper you as well sometimes. But so I did that. So I went to sleep, and I wouldn't sleep a number like about 5 minutes. My phone kept going off. I'm like, what's this? So my Wix site, where I got my website, it went off like 2 times. So I'm like, okay, somebody's on my website. Okay, I'm not thinking nothing about it because people go on the website and they don't do nothing. So
Right.
I turn back over. All of a sudden, ding, Cash App. like, wait, hold up. So I go look, Cash App, two people, like one person paid for everything is everything reading, another person paid for a natal chart reading, and then another person paid for like a card reading, like all within that same like time frame. So I'm like, man, forget this. I'm finna check into a hotel tomorrow.
Right.
Like all because I listened, you know. So I've never been like, I got, you know, speaking of Sagittarius in the third house, I got so many different experiences like that I've had, to where if you know, it might have seemed weird to everyone else, it might have seemed crazy, but just me being in alignment has helped me so much in my path, because this hasn't been an easy path, because a lot of things when you're on this spiritual journey you got to let go. You know, talking about value, you know, in order for you to be balanced in your value. Where is Taurus at? Taurus is in the ninth house, so your value has to be in something higher than you. Your value has to be in something that's so much higher than you. Like, you know, you have to stay in meditation, you have to stay in a high vibration in order to stay connected to it, you know. And that's deep, you know. That's a deep thing. We got Uranus in Taurus, you know. Uranus, that means individual freedom, you know. Like this whatever this is, that's your higher self, that you have to have this value in, you know. This has to be something that freed you, you know. Because what I'm seeing right now, Satchel, and you can chime in on this. There was this video of this lady on Instagram, and she was like, yo, there's a switch going on. Even Sister Myra was talking about this too, where she was like, the spiritualists of old, you know, a lot of the old heads and a lot of, you know, the spiritualists of old, they're phasing out, you know. RIP Brother Panic, you know, they're phasing out, and now it's time for the people who used to follow these spiritualists and who claimed that they was doing the work while they were alive. Now it's time to show and prove, because now we're the ones that's up next. You know, you listening to this video right now on the playback, you know, you're up next. You know, now is your time to shine. You know, all the others had to get out the way, you know, had to get on up out of here, so that, you know, so that the new ones can come in, and now it's time for them to reign. You know, which means that in order, since we've had so many decades of this bullshit, since we've had so many decades of this, you know, effery and soul selling, and we've had so many decades of this, you know, debauchery and scamming and, you know, scheming and, you know, stuff like that in the spiritual community. The new ones that's supposed to come, that's going to be switched out, you got a lot to prove, but it's not going to be hard for you to prove this, because if you follow this, then, you know, you're not going to have any as long as you're leading with your innocence, you're not going to have no problems, you know, being able to win over the hearts hearts, because we got Leo in the 12th house. So this is winning over the hearts of those goddesses, you know, those gods that are, you know, it's almost like you got a lot of people right now that's getting out of jail. And when I say jail, I mean like spiritual jail, emotional jail. They're getting out of financial jail, you know.
Right.
And they're looking, and they're out, and they're looking for that person that's going to help them to manage. Because when you think about Oshun, when you think about Oshun and the relationship between Oshun and Eshu, um, you know, just like how Eshu, he's God all by himself. As far as when we're talking about him in the forest, he can journey through the forest by himself. He don't need Oshun to journey through the forest with him. Oshun, she can be the queen all by herself. She don't need Eshu in order for her to do what she's been put here to do. But when they're together, when they're able to help each other out, he understands how to manage. He understands how impactful that Oshun's energy is, and he can manage. He knows how to manage that. That's why when you see, I, I hate to bring it back to this, but when we're talking about pimps, and we're talking about the women that they have in their stable, these women can snitch on this dude at the drop of a dime. These women can all jump him and stab him or shoot him, at any time. Like, these women could easily just go rogue and just, tell the police like, yo, I was being trafficked by this particular guy, and his whole life is over. But why don't you hear a lot of stories like that? It's because it's something about this guy that he knows how to manage the emotions, the heart, the mind. A lot of y'all may not agree with it, but in their world, that's what it is. And that's what that 12th house in Leo is talking about. The new spiritualists, like the new people that's gonna be out here with this midheaven and Gemini, that's gonna have the microphone. They're gonna be a lot of the real ones. They're gonna be like this. So these are the ones that came out of real effed up situations. They came out of real crazy situations. But Leo, they didn't let that but God. I don't know why I want to say but God. That was his old school song, but God. They still got that good heart. Like they still got that heart. Like they still got that part of them that's not gonna settle, that's not gonna, whatever they was going through when they was down, it didn't break them. And also with Lilith being in Virgo and the ascendant being in Virgo, these are people who, they may look innocent to you, but these people, they've been around the block. They've been around the block. And again, I remember you was talking about this as well, because you are one of those people. You are one of those people that's doing this is literally breaking yourself out of a comfort zone. And I remember we was talking about that. And somebody can look at somebody like me, be like, yo, like, he must not have been through nothing. Or look at you like, what makes you an authority on doing what you're doing? What makes you an authority on doing what you're doing? What have you been through in your life? What experiences have you been through in your life to where you can tell somebody else what they need to be doing and stuff like that? And these are going to be valid questions. These are going to be valid questions that that the people are going to want to ask these new spiritualists, these new people that's going to be on the microphones now. The bad boys, the bad boys are falling. The bad boys are falling. The bad boys, they trying to be us. The bad boys are trying to be the baby SU now. They trying to prove their innocence. They ain't trying to be in the streets no more. They ain't trying to be like, take that. They ain't trying to. I thought I told you that we don't stop. They're trying to stop now. Now they trying to stop.
Niggas picking up sage now.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's a whole new world out here. Like, Black Friday. I was just gonna say Black Friday is not Black Friday no more. Like, man, Niggas trying to pay bills. We trying to pay our rent. We ain't got no time to be buying no overpriced gizmos and gadgets and odds and ends.
Right.
You know. So if you trying to come into this new shift right now, and you got the microphone and all eyes are on you like Tupac, cause he was also a Gemini, and you got all eyes on you, and you over here with this brother polite, peace, my brother, peace, my family. Let's talk about aliens and
Right.
you know, let's talk about how you can do this or do that, and it sound like a charismatic scam, you know. Um, who sang that song? Diana Ross. You wouldn't get far. It's gonna be just a waste of time. It's gonna be just a waste of time for you, you know. And speaking of that, so we got Chiron in Aries. We got Chiron in Aries. Um, and Chiron is also in retrograde. We got a lot of stuff in retrograde right now. So Chiron is in retrograde, and me, when I talk about Chiron, I also like to talk about Palace, because see, you see how Palace looks like a key. You see, y'all see how Palace, y'all see how Palace, it looks like a key, and then Chiron looks like a key. You know. So what I like to say is, so Palace is the different attributes, the different things about you that got you in the high position that you ended up in. Whether it was a past life, whether it's in, this life or whatever. Your palace is what gets you in the palace. And it gives you this Chiron key. When you get into the palace, this key, this palace, this gets you into the palace. P-A-L-L-A-C-E. I hope I'm saying that right. P-A-L-A-C-E. Palace gets you in the palace. But if you get into the palace, like once you leave the palace and you try to use this key in any other lock that it's not supposed to be in, then that's when this Chiron, it ends up being a wound. This is what, because when you think about a wound and a womb, both of them are openings. Did you realize that? Like the womb, W-O-M-B, and then a wound, W-O-U-N-D. Both of those, they kind of look the same. Like if you get stabbed, I don't mean to be graphic with y'all, but this is what I'm getting as a channel. Like when you get stabbed with a knife, the wound that you get when you get stabbed, it looks just like a poom poom.
That's crazy. Look, I don't want to cut you off, bro. But look, I got this 9 of spades, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got 9 of spades, and it says this exploration promises to shed new light on the multifaceted dimensions of the enigmatic 9 of spades. And literally, as you were saying it, I'm seeing a key to a portal. And it's crazy that you're saying that coming from SU, there's a key to a portal being opened right now, to personal empowerment, to metamorphosis. You get what I'm saying? So that's crazy that you even say that you even put it that way.
Yeah. And that's why I started the mix off with, I got the keys. I got the keys.
Exactly.
And see what this Chiron in Aries in the 8th house, this is talking about ignorance of the law is no excuse. Because ignorance of the law is no excuse. So let's see. So Palace, so we got Palace and Scorpio in the 2nd house. So the reason how you got into the high position that you got into. Now this is like a Diddy situation, and then we're also going to talk about the more enlightened situation, because I'm a Gemini. So I got to talk about it from both sides. You know, so, and I'm not even going to look at what it means yet until I get this out. So Palace in Scorpio. So this is someone who changed their values. The reason why you got into the situation, the reason why you got into this new situation, you was able to be in alignment with the shift, is because a lot of the things that you value, a lot of the things that you, when it comes to your possessions, your finances, your, those Taurus things, there was a lot of transformation that happened. There was a lot of death, there was a lot of transformation of those things that you value. So what does this mean when we talk about in a enlightened way? Because when we talk about the enlightened way, this is what makes you a wounded healer when we're talking about Chiron. You being able to see other people making the mistake that you was about to make, and then you can be the one that can give them that, yo, that ain't the way to go. I was in your shoes, and this and this and this and this. So at least if somebody still ends up going through it, they can't say that they was never warned. I like to break this astrology down in a very, very simple way that anybody can understand it. Because that's how we learn. Not Bobby Hemming, but Brother Panic. One of the things he used to say all the time: if you can't break something down to where a baby can understand it, then you don't have no type of mastery in what you're talking about. So I pride myself in breaking things down as low as I can to where y'all can still understand it. Because if I break it all the way down, I'll be sounding like
right.
Because that's how my inner child is talking to me right now. Like my inner child. That's how my inner child talks to me. Like that's what I hear in my head while I'm doing this, and then I have to take that, convert it, and give it to y'all.
Right.
So with this Chiron and Aries in the 8th house, so this is what makes you a business mogul. Chiron and Aries in the 8th house. This is what makes you a mogul. This is what makes you someone who, you're trustworthy. You're someone who has a tried and tested identity. Ascending in Virgo, which means that you already come off as someone who's wise. Like you already kind of look like someone who's wise because of the values that you had to change, because of the things that you had to change with your values and the way you looked at your finances. This made you look wiser. See, my ascending in Virgo is like 29 degrees. So, I'm in my 30s, but I can look old, I can look real old, or I can look real young, just depending on, what I'm going through.
Right.
So you already got this going for you, So with this Chiron and Aries, you become a wounded healer in the most, influential, like, part of people's lives that they're going through. And that's why you got this North Node in Aries in the 8th house as well. Like these go hand in hand when you become the wounded healer. So now let's talk about this from a Diddy standpoint. Because people was thinking that when Diddy went from Puff Daddy to P Diddy to Diddy to Brother Love, they thought he was transforming. They thought he was transforming his values. They thought he was changing. They thought he was trying to make a change and all this type of stuff. But this is what Diddy was really doing. This is what he was really doing. He was really an extremist. He was reckless, and he was a destructive character. One may be an instrument of hatred. This degree describes all sorts of misfortunes brought about by natural disasters or political upheavals. You know, this is everything that Diddy going through right now. He done lost his school. He done lost revolt. He's going through political things because he lost his drink company, his liquor company. You know, all this stuff is going on. Although one works hard. Shout out to dang, I forgot her name. I think her name is Gratita or something like that. She does the Conversations with Soul, and she did a channel with what's the name of Diddy baby mama? The one that died. What's the name? Kim Porter. Kim Porter. And was talking about Diddy behind the scenes. He working real hard trying to keep this reality from happening, and he's been successful up until now. You know, but the efforts remain unproductive because projects are not well prepared. You know, this degree warns against possible injury caused by fire. Fire. Look at this Chiron. It's in a fire sign, Aries. Bro, you can't make this up, dog. You can't make this up. Like I told y'all, like I sound like Dick Gregory now. I told y'all that Palace is connected to Chiron. I saw the check, nigga. I saw the Beatles Cadillac. I saw Michael Jackson in the Beatles Cadillac. I saw it. You know? So this is what Diddy is going through right now. You know, this Chiron and Aries, you know, so with his retrograde. This retrograde. So this is a exposure. This is you not really transforming like you said you were. So you're pretty much the same person that you were trying to run away from. So this is why people can expose, because you know this is the Oya house. So this is the Chiron in Aries in the 8th house. So Pataki. So Sacral, because you represent the baby Shango. Right. So remember the Pataki where you know Shango, you know, he was trying to get Ogun back. So he went to Oya's house while Ogun was not there. And you know, he was like, yo, can I get this? I forgot what, like there's so many different versions of it. Mm-hmm. And Oya was like, are you sure that's all you came here to do?
Right.
You know? So let's just say Shango chickened out. And she was like, are you sure that this is what you want to do? And he was like, nah, that ain't what I want to do.
Nah, yeah.
You know, think about the way he probably felt inside, knowing that that's really what he wanted to do, and literally like, dang, like she's with it too. Like I didn't even realize she was with it too, and then you still didn't go with what you knew that you was trying to do.
You was trying to do exactly.
So with this Chiron and Aries, this is almost like exposing. This is like exposing the things that you thought you got away with in your past. And that's exactly what Diddy going through right now. Exactly, like to the T. And what are these people that's coming out of the woodworks, what are they saying about him? Yo, you can't make this up, dog. I'm gonna let you read it. I'm gonna let you read it. Cause you can't make this up, dog. You really can't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Do you need me to unhighlight it?
Yeah, it's not even showing up. Hold on. Yeah, I don't even see it on the stream.
Oh, it's not showing up on the screen. Probably because it's behind.
That's what they were talking about.
What happened?
So they were basically saying like, I guess as far as the stream, it's a little bit behind. I think that's what they was speaking about.
Oh, okay.
It was breaking in and out. I guess that's what they were talking about.
Mm. Yeah, cause I'm looking at it now and it's not even on there yet.
Yeah.
But what it's saying is selfish, materialistic, and conceited character.
That's wild.
One is
Tell you,
one. And watch this. Like Usher say, watch this. One is only concerned in luxury, fine clothing, and all kinds of pleasures. One
wow.
one spends lavishly. They spend money lavishly on themselves, but they display utter stinginess towards other people, aka,
Yeah.
aka, where Mace coming out talking about Diddy stole all his money. He never paid him. You know, he got issues with the locks. You know, all that kind of stuff. Their money is locked. They call themselves the locks, but their money been locked.
Mm.
You know, one is driven by self-interest and picks one's acquaintances among wealthy and influential persons. Good luck seems to smile on this degree, and with the support of powerful protectors, because we've always been saying like, yo, you know, the reason why he's doing what he's doing is because he got people in high places that's been protecting him all this time. Powerful protectors. One achieved success in occupations involving precious stones. He was always dripped out in gold and all that gold, silver, and jewelry in general. Nevertheless, unless the natal chart indicates otherwise, such intense self-centeredness and extravagant expenses bring about ruin and unhappiness. And you know what that means. More money, more problems.
Right.
You know, so that's why, um, and again, you know what they say: a tiger don't change its stripes. You know, so if this is what you're on, if this is what you on right now, when it's time for you to get on the mic and help the people, if this is what you're on, you're gonna get burned. You're gonna get burned real bad. You know, you're gonna get found out real quick, because with this North Node, if you do this the right way, and at the end of the day, the North Node, a lot of times the North Node is what leads you to your life's purpose anyway. You're gonna be.
You know what's crazy? That's funny to say that, bro, because Spirit is literally telling me, giving me a download right now, because I have this King of Spades upright, right? I have the King of Spades, and it's basically talking about self-mastery, and it's talking about stepping into that path of becoming king. You know, Shango, he was always destined to be king, right? But I'm also seeing the King of Spades reversed. So it's that power and that success. If he lets that get to his head, and he becomes selfish, he becomes self-centered, his kingdom will fall.
Yep. And that's exactly what happened. You know, that's exactly what's going on. You know, King Combs. I don't know why I want to say King Combs.
Right.
You know, he gonna be the next up. And think about it. Like, if Diddy goes down, and then King Combs is the next up, like what is he really gonna have to stand on when it comes to his dad's legacy? Like, he's not gonna be able to really have anything to do with none of that. Like, he's really gonna have to be his own man and show that he's nothing like his father.
Yeah, he's gonna really have to stand on business.
Ooh, that's a big thing. That's a big phrase right now.
Yeah, he gonna have to really stand on business for real.
Mm-hmm. Because he looked too much like him.
Right? Too much like
you know. So it's
that's
like,
I don't know why I'm seeing Ganju and Shango.
yeah, because it's father and son,
Hmm.
you know, and you know, there's a real big thing that went down, you know, real crazy when we talk about like mythology and when we talk about um the different wars that we've been through on this planet before we ended up, being who we are now.
Hmm.
Um, when we talk about those pre-dynastic um, energies like the Adawato, like the Dambala, like the Oya, like the Aganju, like the Yembo, like the Odua, these represents other. I don't want to say extraterrestrial because you know
Mm.
they're all us. Like these all represent us. So other versions of us that were trying to do the same thing, get the same type of freedom, trying to do the same type of thing. Um, and just like they say on Law and Order, these are their stories.
Right.
You know, and it's always a situation to where, um, you know, the father is the one that sets the standard. You know, and then the son has to come and reinforce that standard in his generation.
Mm.
And then it goes on and on and on. But what if your father was a tyrant, like what was it? Was it King Tut or was it Akhenaten sons? Uh, Heru, where their father was, nobody really liked their father. Their father was a tyrant, and so what if your job is to transform, but also bring things back to the way they were before your father ruled? What if that's your path? And think about how hard living is gonna be, knowing that, knowing that everything that your father is building, that's on this, um, messed up, because when we talk about Obatala, he represents alcoholism. He represents, he created a lot of things and he wasn't in his right frame of mind. So now Shango has to come and be the savior.
Mm.
You know,
And spirit is selling me karmic debt.
yeah.
So it's like being put in a position to where you have to pay off that karmic debt. Now I'm seeing this four of diamonds, and that's looking at good fortune, but also bad fortune as well because um we pay for our father's sin. You get what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. We pay for our father's sin is what I'm saying. I remember Denzel speaking about this too. Um, so where you have to basically say exactly what you're saying. As sons, whatever our father's father has done, we have to pay for those sins. We have to pay for everything that they have done, and we have to get back to our rulership. Um, we have to get back to the ways of how we were before his rulership, and in our rulership, we have to rule with fairness. We have to rule with love. You get what I'm saying?
Mm, yeah, definitely. Okay, so I see what they saying about the stream health. Um, I wish I could have saw that beforehand, and I wish I could have recorded this too. But hopefully the playback will iron things out and make it better. But yeah, you know, um, and that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because I remember um, my childhood. I remember my dad telling me about how he wanted to run the streets and he wanted to do different things, and his father, was extremely strict as well, and he was telling me like all the things that he had to go through um, in his life, and then I look at how I came up, how I ended up doing some of the same I ended up doing some of the same things that my dad was saying um, that he did to his father. And that's the crazy part. That's the crazy part how that happens. So yeah, that's definitely true. Even with my mom, because I feel like when it comes to the mothers, um, you know, a lot the bodies that we choose to come here with to do our father's will comes from our mother.
Hmm.
you know so which means that there's going to be a lot of emotional, a lot of spiritual, a lot of, even when it comes to certain mental things that come straight from our mom. The things that she had to go through before she had you, and things that she had to go through in other lifetimes and stuff like that. Like we carry so much. And since we're so far away from our history, we're so far away from the way we used to do things so that we can learn about who we are and stuff like that. This is how we can be fooled, you know. But talking about this North Node in Aries, because this is pretty much what what the new Shangos. This is what y'all are gonna have to represent. The new Shangos that's gonna be the new messengers and stuff like that in the world. You know, this this is someone who's domineering, careful, and trustworthy. Someone who someone who has the capacity to fight against all kinds of opponents. However, you must understand that people are entitled to have their own different opinions and lifestyles, and that they must be respected. Otherwise, one may spark off relentless resistance, serious ordeals, and unnecessary trouble in both the private and the public spheres. So, literally, like everything that you talked about in that card, that's what this represents.
Pretty much, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and 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 this is the reason why I brought you on, because you know something that Melanie always says: truth is truth.
Hmm.
You know, truth is truth. It doesn't matter if it's a card reading. It don't
Hmm.
matter if it's astrology. It don't matter if it's the Bible. It don't matter if it's numerology. You know, if if what you're saying, it don't matter if it's channeling, any of that. You know, um, whatever it is, as long as it's coming from a place of truth, within yourself, aka that Leo being in the 12th house, someone who has a good heart and they were tried and tested and stuff like that. So in the 5th house, they're the goat. So in their creative space, they're the goat because they've been tried and tested. You know, that's why that is so important right now. I feel like um, the Phoenix mentality. This is what we all have to have right now, because it's so much like, you know, these conscious people on YouTube, these conscious people, it's like all they're talking about, oh, these bad things are gonna happen next year, and
Mm.
and I'm never one to say that nobody is wrong, but then you got to have a balance,
It has to be a balance, yeah.
you know, and if you've transformed and if you've done what you're supposed to do to make sure that you are in the alignment that you're supposed to be in, why are you even afraid, or why are you even um, have any fear or doubt in your heart anyway? Because whatever new passion or new motivation that you're going to be on, whatever that is given to you to protect you through the quote unquote bad times, through the bad
Right.
times that everybody's talking about that's going to go on, you know. And the 8 year, because that's what next year is going to be. Next year is going to be
Right.
um, the eighth year, and we know that eight represents Oya. You know, she represent the 8 and the 9. She can represent the Scorpio, which is
Mhm.
the Orisha Oya, or she could represent the 9, which is the mother of 9, which is
That's
the
crazy.
Sagittarian Ada Wado.
Tell me why I got the eight of diamonds. The last two cards is the eight of diamonds and the nine of diamonds.
Yep, because
Interesting.
yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, that's 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 what you have to. That's those are gonna they say your family jewels.
Mm.
You know the jewels that you drop. So
Hmm.
the jewels that you're gonna be dropping is gonna come from that 8 and that 9.
Right.
Because again, Jupiter and Taurus, this is an expansion of value in the eighth house. Do you know when you're talking about someone who's faking the funk? Do you know how dangerous? Do you know how dangerous it is for someone to have a expansion in value when it comes to that eighth house? You know, again, this is someone who gets an expansion and all they want to do is just fuck the baddest chicks. You
Right.
know, all they want to do is be a money hoarder, a money hoarder. You know, they like the Black Lives Matter. They get the money, and instead of them doing what they say they gonna do, being all charismatic with this midheaven and Gemini, you know,
Mhm.
they take the money and what they
And
buying.
pocket.
Wait, what they buying? Luxury, fine clothing, and all types of pleasures.
Yeah.
Spending lavishly on themselves. Um, it remind me of that May song. What you know about getting fresh, big leg TVs all up in the headrest? Trying to live it up. Got a jewel, bigger truck. Stick a kid, nigga, what?
Right.
You know?
And it's crazy because with this nine of diamonds, right? I feel like my niece, especially being, you know what I'm saying, being that Babel Shango, right? I feel as though that I've been how can I put it? There's a higher calling. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna be sitting back as a spectator, just watching you all, like you, the Baron, Melanie. I'm just gonna be watching y'all do y'all thing, like, and just kind of like soaking up that information. But nah, Spirit was like, nah, we need your energy as well. You get what I'm saying? Like, we need your energy as well. I don't know what it was about these cards that drew me to these cards, but um, I definitely feel as though that my inner child feels best that he can relay his message and drop those family jewels through these cards. You get what I'm saying? So I couldn't just sit back. I had to get in front of the camera. I had to, like, us doing this stream right now. Like you said, bro, it took us almost 3-4 hours trying to get this started. You get what I'm saying? And we've been on here for a while now. You
And we
know,
and we still and we still having technical difficulties and
right?
stuff.
And we warriors, bro. We gotta get it. We gotta push through it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You know, we on the battlefield together for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's like this was meant to happen. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like I've definitely been called to arms. You've been called to arms. Like, we've been, like, there's a higher calling. Like you said, like you spoke about, like you thought that this channel was gonna be strictly about music or just interviews or whatever the case may be. You know, and it turned into something um beautiful. It turned into something empowering for the collective. You know.
And it's one. Okay, we back. We back. We back. I don't know what that was. But yeah, you're definitely right. And the thing about it is, um, and I've talked about this before. I was always looking for something to validate me um, when it comes to, like, I used to have this dream that I wanted to get in the industry
Mhm.
before I actually got into the industry, and I've noticed that that's not like that Hollywood, that super Hollywood. That's not really what I want to be anymore.
Right.
But during that time where I was still finding myself and all that, and I'm a late bloomer. I'm in my 30s. I'm just now. I didn't start going on this journey till I was like 28. Like 28, 27. So I'm still like a newbie when it comes to this. But I was always looking for some type of like higher purpose, some type of higher validation. I didn't want to be just one of those artists that don't have no other substance outside of their music. No other substance outside of um, what they offer and stuff like that. And who would have known that my prayer would have been answered by me going on this particular path? And now, with me going on this path, I've not only have I revived different things that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. I never thought it would be possible, you know. Um, with me doing Issues World, I never thought that I could say that I have an animated cartoon, even though it's still in the infancy stages. The fact that I can, like, one of them things, like, I wish I could tell my younger self, like, yo, just keep at it, keep drawing, like, keep doing it. Like, one day you're gonna create an animation and it's gonna be so dope. you know but these are all the things that gives not only my music substance, but it gives everything about me substance. And it's a genuine substance, because that getting to know your inner child piece, that shadow work piece. The shadow work ain't pretty. These are very, like, vulnerable. These are like vulnerable conversations. Vulnerable conversations that, depending on the type of channel that you got, depending on the type of fan base that you got, stuff like that, it would be harder. It would be harder for you to have these type of conversations coming from a certain person. It's like Boosie talking about getting to know your inner child. Like, we know you for, show your poom poom lips on Instagram for $1,000. Like, that's what we know you as. Like, so I'm just glad that early into my career I got on this path, to where y'all can see just the gradual, just the gradual progression. That's what I'm gonna call it. Y'all can see the gradual progressions, the ups and the downs. Those videos where, my truck was stuck on the side of the road. The videos where my truck went out, like, as I'm on the live stream, my truck went out. Like, those were some of the videos that I wanted to take down. But I'm like, nah, because, again, Sagittarius in the third house, these are the things that make you real. Like the hardships that people don't want to go through. Like, those are the hardships that make you real, that make you genuine, and stuff like that. And right now, in this shift that we're coming into, in this shift that we're in, that's what's going to be put to the forefront.
And you know what? And I didn't want to cut you out, man, but the thing is, man, just hearing you speak about that, like I said, man, if you would have told me that I would be doing half of what I'm doing on my channel, bro, like, I wouldn't have believed you, because it's like I found a way to bridge my passion with my purpose. And it's funny, because I was looking for a green pen so that I can do that sigil that you had put me onto.
Oh, that's
and
deep. Wait, hold up. You said the passion with the purpose? Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Mind you, as I'm looking for this pen, I found like a letter that I kind of like wrote to myself, and I wrote it over and over again. And I was like, you're basically, what did it say? You're living out your passion through your purpose. It was something close to that. And I'm just like, wow, and look what I'm doing now. I got people asking me, like, hey, when you dropping your next guitar cover, or when you dropping your next guitar solo in your video, like, we missed that. You get what I'm saying? So it's like people are asking for new music, and it's like, it's a beautiful experience, man. It's like it's such a euphoric experience to be able to be in that space. You know, I can literally feel my eye shake. You know, as I'm even speaking about this now, I can feel my eye shake just building. Like I'm being. It's like hence the reason why I play electric guitar. Like I feel electrified. You get what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't lie. Even though everything around me is trying to crash down in the financial, in the physical, um, I got to give a shout out to DJ Superman. I got to give a shout out to Nova Kai. Shout out to Danny. You know, for giving me this new beginning in Florida because um, you know, even though everything else in my world seems like it's crashing down, this is the only thing that's keeping me in good spirits. Being able to, and it's always been like that. Being able to talk to y'all, being able um, to interact with my soul family, whatever time, because I never be able to get on live when I want to. But these are the type of things that um, like my passion and my purpose, it had to be centered, and I always talk about this. The joy that you have, at least 80% of the joy on a daily basis that you have, it gotta be rooted in something that the world didn't give to you. And if the world didn't give it to you, the world can't take it away.
And take it away. That's deep.
You know?
That's
And
deep. That's a gem.
and that's actually a gospel song that my mom used to sing. I think it was a Shirley Caesar song back in the day. This joy I have, the world didn't give it to me. And um, a lot of people think too, and I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent or not. A lot of people think like when you go on this type of journey and you're learning about different types of spirituality, the Bible says, train a child up in the way that he should go, so that when he grows old, he will never depart from it. That's true. Even though I'm over here talking about the Orishas and the Loa and, Palomayambe and, all these different type of spiritual systems, my roots will always be in the Bible, you know. And a lot of people, when they get on this journey, and I can't lie, like I used to be one of them. I'm like, man, fuck the Bible, man, fuck Jesus, fuck all that, you know. Like fuck all that Christian stuff. But what it teaches you is that when you really like on this journey for real, and you showing yourself approved and stuff like that, is one of them type of things to where it's like, okay, now I can understand everything. I can understand the Bible more, because now when I think about this Jesus story, now I can think about Dionysus. Now I can think about Eshu. Now I can think about Shango. I can think about all the other spiritual systems that Christianity comes from. And it helps you to learn. It helps you, like if you're really on this for real, it helps you to learn about that and appreciate it even more. Because it's like, oh, okay. So when they say the Lord thy God, that's talking about your higher self. Like, okay, that makes sense. When he's talking about the 2 fish and the 5 loaves of bread, that's Pisces in the 5th house.
In the 5th house.
Like, like, the Bible gives you a lot. The Bible gives you a lot of spells. The Bible gives you a lot of rituals to do. The Bible gives you a lot of coded information that you got to be I don't know why I'm like not want to say this, but you really got to be a well-traveled man or a well-traveled woman in order to truly understand what the Bible means. And you know what I mean when I say a well-traveled man or a well-traveled woman, And this is the reason why most Masons are Christian. And the reason why they're Christian is because they understand what the Bible is better than you. The reason why is because, you know, they have access to um, different information that, you know, me and you, we got to go on a whole journey. You know,
Whole journey,
you
right?
know, we got to go on a whole journey to get this information. Sometimes you got to go overseas. You
Mm.
know, shout out to Astro Einstein. I really do want to take that trip. I think he's in Hawaii, so I can learn more about Reiki healing and energy healing and hypnotherapy and all that type of stuff, because you know these are all attributes that made us, because you know in the Bible it say ye are gods, and even Jesus, he was like, didn't your Bible say that ye are gods?
Mm.
You know, Bobby Hemmett used to talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
But all these things that we have been programmed to look at as evil, like these things are evil. These things, you know, stay away from that. Stay away from astrology. Stay away from energy healing. You know, stay away from this. Stay away from that. Stay away from communicating with your ancestors and all that type of stuff. You know, this is what made us like gods on this earth.
Hmm.
And you know, this is something that it used to be so hard for people to understand, but again, we're living in a new shift right now. And so a lot of things that you may feel that people aren't ready for, and this is a channel that I'm getting, a lot of things that we think that people aren't ready for, there is actually no better time than now to expose it. A lot of different practices, a lot of different things that people, you know, um, in my dad's time, or people like, you know, they wouldn't be ready to hear it, you know, because of all of these, um, you know, TikToks out, reels, all these reels out about exposing the stuff that's going on behind the veil and behind the scenes. Um, More people than you know it are now susceptible, and you know they may actually get something from that stuff now. You know, um, and then going back to Mercury. You know, Mercury, Sagittarius in the fourth house, being able to speak about those uncomfortable experiences. You know, being able to come out of your shell. You know, and this is something that you're doing right now. Like all of this stuff, like we're literally a living witness. We're doing this right now.
Doing it right now, literally.
You know, this is someone who's wise. Mercury, 28 degree. This is someone who's a very wise talker. But they're very wise because they're able to um, speak about, because midheaven and Gemini, they're able to speak about these experiences that took them out of their comfort zone,
Mm.
and look at where these arrows are pointing to. You know, when you stepped out of your comfort zone, and this is what you're going to be talking about if you really about this, like if you really enlightened and you really got something to say for real. You know, Biggie, I got a story to tell. When you talk,
Yeah.
when you talk, people are going to see the balance in your personality, because even though Libra, even though Virgo is in your ascendant, is in the ascendant right now, um, Libra is also there. So your innocence is what balances you. Damn, that's deep.
Right. And it's crazy because, man, let me tell you a short story
Wait,
about
wait,
something that happened.
wait.
Huh?
Before you do that, I got two more aspects.
Oh.
So when you talk, people are gonna be susceptible to listen to you with this midheaven and Gemini's, because your innocence is what balances you. Also, your routines, your patterns, um, and your creative abilities, the things that you Saturn in Pisces, you know, the things that everybody else um, is facing the hard reality of. Um, you know, Neptune in Pisces in the seventh house. You know, you're gonna be able you're gonna be able to talk about um, in an intuitive way, in an honest way, in an inspirational way, in a impressionable type of way, you're going to be able to talk about how these things change those routines and change those patterns and changed, your health. Like you're gonna look more healthy. Like all of this is what you need to be listening to. All of this is what you need to be focused on right now. All of this is what you need to be talking about or listening to other people talk about. So you can be in alignment. All right. So what you were saying?
Yeah, man. So okay, my sister, she does hair, right? And she had a client over here. She was reattaching his locks, and they kind of had took a break. Um, and they had ended up cutting on a Tyler Perry movie, right? It's funny because Tyler Perry, his birthday is September 13th, and mine is the 14th. I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but they were having a conversation about whether or not a woman should obey her husband or her man, right? And I'm sitting there listening to him. Um, and come to find out, this guy's around 25. I didn't even know, like 24, 25 years old. I thought he was like 18, 19 years old. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And my sister was saying that basically he thought that I was 28. So it's funny that you brought that number up, 28, right? So um, before I could even chime in and just kind of like, what I'm saying, because I was cooking at the time, cooking us something to eat. Um, Before I could even chime in, my sister was like, "How you feel about this?" And I'm like, "You know what? I'm glad you asked." So as soon as I started to talk, both of them, they both just kind of like got quiet and kind of listened to what I was saying. And I was basically saying that when it comes to that, I feel as though that um, he wasn't wrong. I just feel like his terminology was off because that's such a Christian mindset to have. Your wife is supposed to obey. I feel as though that it's more so your woman is supposed to listen to you because she chose you to be the proper leader, right? So she would have no choice but to listen to you, if that makes sense, right? But to say that obey, that's almost saying that you're speaking to her as if she's like a dog, or just like, what I'm saying. So it's the terminology, right? But it's like I said, I just found it interesting that you brought that up just now because, like I said, this guy, he just completely got quiet and was just kind of like zoned into everything that I was saying, and he just felt the need to kind of like listen to what I was saying, whether it was right or wrong, because he already put himself in the mindset of, okay, this guy he's either older or he's either wiser than I am, so I should listen. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And so, talking about that Tyler Perry situation, you and him got a lot in common as well. So it's crazy
Right.
that birthday, like it's crazy. But again, um, we have it's a certain way that we've been taught to look at words. Being someone who my life revolves around words. Like the reason why I've been able to keep myself out of confrontations and keep myself out of certain things is because, from an early age, I had to learn how to use my words correctly and learn the different etymology. Being a rapper, you have to learn, what different words mean in different ways and in different lights and stuff like that. So when you're talking about obey, you know, um, when you're driving, you know, you gotta obey the traffic laws.
Hmm.
You know, Sprite, obey your thirst. I don't know
Hmm.
why I thought about that while
Hmm.
you were saying it. Is one of them things. Is when you're talking about obey. It's like when you put, like, I'm envisioning when you draw a line on a sheet of paper, and then you got an ant, and that ant, like, he'll walk up to the line, but he'll see that line there, and he'll just automatically, like, turn around and go a different way.
Go a different way, exactly.
you know. So when I think about obedience, because obedience is also in the Bible as well, you know,
Hmm.
um, obedience, that just means, in my the way I look at it, as obedience means that, okay, the person that I'm obeying, or the thing that I'm obeying, this is something that was this was something that was created way before I was even conceived. Like, the traffic laws was created before either of us were born. Our father had to obey the traffic laws. Our mom had to obey,
Right.
you know, all that type of stuff. Now, I my thing is, I don't have a issue with the word because I know what it means. But
Right.
when we're talking about emotionally, and then you got to add the trauma, you know, um, I look at it like a game. You know, I look at it like a 2K game, to where, you know, in life, what's up, IFE? We got IFE in the building. Um, in life, in life, you go through different stages of manhood, and in those stages of manhood, you have badges. Like, you have a badge of honor. Um, you know, the different stages that you go through. And something that Tariq Nasheed said, you know, there's a such thing as elders, and there's a such thing as old ass niggas.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and that goes in relationships too. A lot of these women, they're looking for men to lead them. Number one, they don't know who they are, so how can I lead you into doing what I'm doing, and I don't know who I am, you don't know who you are. So that's already a effed up foundation, you know. And you know, I'll give women credit, you know, especially like the Pisces women, you know, Cancer women, uh, you know, they'll follow their man off a cliff. You know, sometimes, you know, they'll follow their man off a cliff. But then the thing about it is, since a lot of us don't know about shadow work, now they look at obedience as something bad. Like, I obeyed the last man I was with, and he led me off a cliff. I obeyed the last man I was with, and he led me into a meat grinder. You know?
Right.
So it's not necessarily about the word. It's almost about the trauma that's associated with that word.
Associated with it, exactly.
You know, think about how we were taught about that word in slavery. Servants, obey your master.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, in a way, in when I'm looking at it in a holistic way, I don't even disagree with that on a holistic way.
Right.
Because the master version of me, think about a master copy of a CD. You know, the master copy is the most complete copy. Like, that's the most complete version of that CD. Everything else is gonna sound a little muffled because it's not the real copy. So in order for me to get to where I need to go, my ancestors have already been where I've been. You know, your parents used to tell you that all the time. I've been where you were. I've been where you at, son. You know, I've had those same urges too. Like, I went through that too. You know, so me obeying the master version of myself, me obeying my higher self, I don't look at that as a bad thing, because I know who my higher self is. My higher self looks just like me. He's just an older version. He's more slender. You know, I've already made that video where I talked about how my higher self looks.
Right.
You know, the issue is we've been so far removed from that type of mindset, from that type of thinking. We've been so far removed from that. The people that we're obeying now, they are willingly leading us off of a cliff. You know, they're willingly doing that, because it's like, if I know that your people or your race is going to be the one to destroy in order to rebuild, and stuff like that, then why would we ever let you know who you are? Like, sometimes we give these people too much credit. Like, they don't deserve all the credit. Like, I don't understand why we still call these tyrants elites. Like, why do we still use the word elites? And
Or supremacy.
yeah. You know, we still be using these words explaining these people who do the most treacherous, debaucherous type of stuff, and we call them elite. Like, come on. You know? But again, going back to shadow work ain't pretty. That's a version of shadow work that's not pretty. And we don't like dealing with um we don't like dealing with things that are ugly.
Mm.
We don't like dealing with things that are ugly. You know, even though you're dealing with those things that are ugly, it makes you more beautiful. It makes you more beautiful the more you deal with things that are ugly. Think about it. You may see this, this older lady. You know, she might not have a nice like body or nothing like that. Like you see somebody, and then you find out, oh, this lady, she helps the homeless, or she helps people in need. Like she has a soup kitchen, and she does, you know, it makes you like, think twice. Like, dang, like, you know, it makes you look at someone in a different light, in a more enlightened type of light. You know, um, so I don't know why I went off on that tangent. I be doing
Yeah,
that.
I was just about to say, bro, like just listening to you talk about that. I don't know why I'm sitting up here envisioning basically playing a certain game on hard mode, right? And we all know when you play a game, like I don't know, like just to throw one out there, like game of God of War.
Yeah,
When
I
you
was
play,
gonna say Demon Souls
yeah, or something like that.
or Dark
Exactly.
Souls.
Right. And when you play a game like that, you know that shit is like so fucking hard to beat. You trying to defeat all of these creatures, you trying to defeat all of these levels, and then it's like when you finally delete it, delete it. Why did I just say that? When you finally defeat it, you start to unlock different benefits. You start to unlock different weapons and different armors and different. You get what I'm saying? So it's like you're unlocking parts of yourself when you start to face those ugly versions of yourself or those ugly. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense, but
And then
that's
too,
what
and
Mhm.
then I'm gonna add to that. Um, you know, you choose the level that you want to play the game on before the game
Mhm.
even starts.
Before it even starts.
You choose
Exactly.
you choose the level that you want to play, and in most games, if you decide to play it on hard mode, if you
Mhm.
decide to play it on that mode, you get um, better weapons than everybody else. You get
Mhm.
better armor than everybody else, and you know what else you get? You know what else you get?
What's that?
A alternate ending.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You get a you get
Exactly.
a you get an alternate ending,
That nobody
than
else
what
would get.
everybody else got. Everybody
Yep.
else, they gotta go watch it on YouTube. See, that's
Mhm.
that's the that's the equivalent of someone who wants to do things the easy way.
The
And
easy
it's
way.
like
Yeah.
and it's like you watching the alternate ending on YouTube. That it ain't really, it don't feel the same. It's not the same.
Not the
It's not
same.
the same because you didn't go through all the hardships that it went through for you to get that alternate ending.
Mhm.
You know, so that's another thing. That's another thing when it comes to that as well. You know.
And you know what? I wanted to touch on something. Going back to something that you said, right? Um, Raising a child up, right? I remember as a child. I don't know why I feel compelled to say this. I remember as a child, right? Watching my mama. She never went to church. She never stepped foot in a church. It was just something about the church that she just didn't really resonate with, right? But just her being a Christian, she stayed in the Bible. Man, when I tell you, my mama, I can literally go and find the Bible right now in the house where my mama would highlight certain Bible verses, whether it's Psalms, Deuteronomy, whatever the case is, right? My mom studies the Bible, right? uh can quote verses, can quote chapters verse by verse. You get what I'm saying? And just me being a kid and seeing her lay in the bed, just her nose in that book, in that Bible, that really just taught me why it's important to have a certain spiritual study, right? And here I am now at 25 years old. I started this journey at 15. at 15, 16 years old, genuinely wanting to heal, right? My grandmother passing away and really watching, it started with Brother Panic. It started with Bobby Hemmett. You know what I mean? And just really studying those guys, right? And thinking back and literally going into the next room and seeing my mama do the same thing I seen her do at 8, 9 years old. You get what I'm saying? They go that 8 and 9 again. At 8 and 9 years old.
Yup.
So just seeing her in that book and just seeing her study that, you know what I mean, and seeing her transformation and how she transformed, because the woman that you would see today is not the woman you saw back then. You get what I'm saying? So it's like that really taught me, that really set the foundation of my spiritual journey and my spiritual path, especially, and I see my mama as like a Yemoja. My mom is definitely a Yemoja, and we all know that Shango is Yemoja's, you know what I'm saying, is her favorite. You get what I'm saying? So it was innately, I had to study my mama, even now I still study her and I still honor her,
Yeah, definitely. And I say this all the time, and you've heard it firsthand. When it comes to the whole baby issue, the whole baby, like the whole inner child baby bank, like all of that stuff comes from my mom. Like my mom be talking like that just all day, just in general. Like she's been like that my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember those talks that me and my mom used to have when I was a kid, and she used to tell me about in detail, like different things that she went through in her past, with her family and stuff like that. And I would see her just being jolly and just being happy around the house, listening to the radio, and I'd be like, dang, like, if I went through half of the things that my mom went through, I would be somewhere balled up crying, like, I wouldn't be nowhere like, sounding like a baby and happy and jolly and all that type of stuff. But then a lot of what I've done in my life, even with me being in Florida, my mom was in Florida first before she had me.
Wow.
Like I'm literally like I'm like picking up where my mom left off in a certain journey, because she had to leave and come to Memphis and have me. So now, with me being who I am, going on the journey that I'm going on now, I remember me and you, we was talking about, like, all the stuff that I went through, like the past like 3-4 years, and you was like, yeah man, a lot of people, if they went through some of that stuff, they'll be trying to unalive themselves, or they'll be in a deep depression, not able to come out.
Literally.
Like, and me, I'm looking at it as, like, if things didn't go the way they did, if I could do it all over again, I would. And that's not something that most people could say. But yeah, if I could do it over again, I would, because in those times is when I truly found, like, myself. I've never been in a situation to where I was truly alone. And for so many people, that's a scary thing. That's a scary thing, to be alone. Like, to, that's scary for a lot of people. They're used to being around people. They're used to being the popular one. They're used to having friends, like a whole bunch of friends that they can call on, a whole bunch of friends. They're used to having different things like that. They're used to being able to have someone that they can depend on. So you take that away from most people, especially in this social media age where everything is about likes and followers and stuff like that. Me doing this live stream right now, there's only 3 people in the chat. If I really cared about that type of stuff, do you really think I'd be live right now?
Right.
At 2 in the morning.
And it's crazy because I spoke about earlier, me almost wanting to take my videos down, because man, I went from hitting my very first video on my channel was me playing my guitar. It hit like 33 views, right? So I posted more videos. It was getting 10, 11 views, 13 views, and then I posted that one general card reading, and it hit it right now. It's at 1.4K, right? 1.4 thousand, like 1,000, almost 2,000 views, right? Videos after, right? So
That's
the
crazy.
videos,
That's
right?
dope.
And
That's
it's
dope.
crazy because the videos after that hit 80, 100, 60. So I posted two videos Monday, right? Tell me why right now those videos only have 16 views each. You know, and it's like you said, if I really cared about that, um, to a certain extent, I only care about it so that certain people get that information, so that it reach certain people in the collective. You get what I'm saying? But if I truly cared about the views, the likes, the subscribers, if I truly cared about it, um, cared about how many views I get, I would have taken those videos down. You know, so I definitely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, like, shoot. You remember how live um my videos and stuff used to be in 2020 when
Right.
it was quarantine. You know, everybody was in the house, everybody was locked down. So, man, I would have like 50, 60 people in my live streams. You know,
Yep.
just talking, just having a good time. You know, just chopping it up, and then um you know, once the video posts, that junk got like 700, 800 views
Right.
already. You know, till now, um, I'll be lucky if I get 100 views in like 3 days. You know, like it's crazy. You know, but um, shout out to Showstopper because one thing she was telling me like, and she was on point when she said this. She was like, you know, you doing this is therapy. You making these videos is not just about everybody else, like it's for you as well. It's therapy because I be going through different things to where I have to go back and listen to some of my old videos just to get clarity, and just think if I would have never put it out, or just think if I would have took it down or whatever, you know.
And that's wild. And you know
So
what? That kind of
yeah, so even when it comes to me doing like my card readings and my Orisha astrology, I know a lot of people not gonna get that. That's why I try to you know to make it to where, like, if you don't know anything about spirituality, you can
mhm,
you can just listen to what I'm saying and get something from it.
get something from it.
You know,
Exactly.
but in the midst of, because I know what I could talk about to get a lot of views, I know what I could, just go back to what I was doing before I started talking about spirituality. Just go back talking about that. But um it's I hate, like, I keep hearing this, like, it's bigger than you. Like, it's bigger
That
than me.
phrase. That I
Like,
was literally just about to say that.
and shout out to Takeoff because he said I do it for the fam because it's bigger than me.
Mm,
I do this for the soul family. Like, so many people throughout my life, like throughout, me doing this, they be hitting me up on Instagram, or they'll hit me up and they'll be like, yo, like, something that you said in your video years ago is resonating with me now. What
mhm.
I'm going